this on because we have an important topic to go over today, girlies. Breakups. And how we lose ourselves in a relationship to the point where the breakup is that wake up call of like, oh girl, who are you? Who are you today? Because you used to be thriving. You used to be yourself. And then that relationship ate you up alive to a point where you don't even recognize yourself anymore. But welcome, girlies, to the third episode of And That's Tea. I'm Rach. And as I said already, the topic today is breakups. Now, even if you haven't gone through a breakup, this will be good advice for if that were to happen to you. Hopefully it doesn't, but you never know. But basically, I noticed, at least for myself, that by the end of my most recent relationship, I had lost a part of myself. I wouldn't say I lost all myself because the relationship itself wasn't great, but wasn't bad either, you know? I didn't like completely lose myself, but I noticed how codependent I became. And I stopped doing the things that I liked to do when I was single. Dancing, taking pictures, going out more with the girlies. Like, I don't know, just things like us girls do when we're single. Like, I wasn't doing that anymore. And obviously that makes sense when you're in a relationship. But there's certain things that you should still be doing when you're in a relationship. So I would say my last relationship was my first breakup, because the previous relationships, I was the one that ended them, and I was young too. I basically realized like I didn't ever really love them. You know, I had like deep feelings for them, but I don't think it was love till my last relationship, and that's when I was like, okay, that's what love is. And that's why it hurt so bad, especially because it wasn't my idea to break up. We broke up basically because I went to school in Georgia, like I mentioned in a previous episode, and I met him while I was in school. So we met in Georgia, we dated, and his family was in Georgia. And I knew I wasn't going to stay there once I graduated from school. I wanted to go back to New York to get a career, you know, like get a good job and make money. And I miss New York because obviously that's where I'm from. And where I was in Georgia, like didn't really have a lot to do and was like definitely holding me back from growing. So I basically, throughout the relationship, towards the end specifically, I had said like, I'm going to move back to New York. Even if you don't come with me right away, you should come to New York with me. Like, we can live there. And I just need a year. Like, I just need a year to get experience in my career. And then we can, like, discuss moving somewhere else or living somewhere else. And basically, when it came time, like, just before my graduation is when he decided to pull the plug of, like, no, I just can't do this. Like, I can't. Like, we just need to break up. Like, it was very immature, first of all. He did it when I was home for Easter over text. And this was like the second attempt, I would say, because the first attempt, I thought he was just stressed. And it was when I was still in Georgia at work. And he had kind of like texted me like, then maybe this is not working, because it started with something else about his family. And then it moved into us not working. And I had like called him. I was like, no, like, don't make any decisions right now and this and that. And so it kind of put off the breakup, which I realized obviously later, because then he went through with it again. And this time was very clear of like, no, we're breaking up. But anyway, oh my gosh, this is what happens when I lose my train of thought. But basically, I feel like I realized when that relationship ended that I was so codependent on him. Like, I had friends, you know, I still hung out with them. I dedicated Thursdays for our hangouts. But I realized that he was my best friend. He was my best friend, my only best friend. The one that I would go to when I was really upset, that I trusted, that I loved unconditionally. Like, that I had at the time felt safe with. So I feel like other girlies will get this, but when your boyfriend is your best friend and then that relationship ends, it's like one of the worst pains, at least for me, and more than the love aspect. Because obviously you love them and you're like, well, I'm so sad, like our love isn't enough. But honestly, for me, it's the friendship at the end of the day that you form in a relationship that really was like what I missed. Because I feel like throughout my life, I had been craving like a best friend, and he ended up being that best friend at the time. And so, as I was trying to get over the breakup, which was really hard, first of all, like really, really hard, um, I would think like I remember crying and like thinking like, oh my god, like I just want my best friend back. Like I something good happened. I just want to tell him. Like you want to tell that person the good things that happened, or even if like let's say like a bad thing that happened, but you would share with them because that's what you used to do. So realizing you don't have that comfort anymore is a wake up call. Um, that's not pleasant, but basically this relationship was a catalyst of me healing my anxious attachment style, my my need to like be codependent. And so I feel like it took a little bit, no, it took a good amount of time, I'd say, for me to really start healing and accepting the fact that this relationship cannot really be saved if he doesn't want to do it too. And the problem was like this is one of, I mean, not all men do this, but what they like to do is keep you hooked even if they break up with you. So they'll be like, "Oh, just give me a little bit, we'll get back together." Like he would do that all the time. And he moved on real quick with another girl. But then they would break up and he'd come back and he'd be like, "Oh no, we need to get back together. We'll get back together, this, and this." So we broke up right before my graduation. I graduated, and going through a big like milestone like that, and you had counted on that person being there for you, like he was going to go to my graduation and then my mom was going to be there. When that happens where that person's no longer coming, it like low-key took like the joy away from graduating. And so on my graduation day, I wasn't able to be fully present because all I was thinking about low-key was the relationship. I mean, I did appreciate my mom coming with me and like going to my graduation, and like was very grateful for like being able to graduate, that I made it, that I did it, and I was proud of myself, and I still had that emotional feeling towards it, but it wasn't my like true self because I was still lost in the breakup. And knowing he was in the city while I was going like graduating, it's like that weird like psychological thing that goes on in your head where it's like always there in the back of your head. I could not stop thinking about him, like, oh my god, why couldn't he be here, like what is he doing? And that was like one of the worst moments of my life. But yeah, I graduated, I moved back to New York because I had gotten a job in New York City, and literally I couldn't even enjoy the job because I was going through that breakup. Like it's basically like you're grieving the life that you thought you were going to have with that person, and you lost your best friend. So I had to start a new job like that. And it was honestly like so bad. Like I would be anxious all day at the job. I would want to cry. Sometimes I would cry during my lunch break. And then it came to a point where I was like, no, I need to go back to Georgia. Like I'm not happy here in New York. There's nothing here for me. I need to go back. And job wise, I wasn't learning anything. I was kind of doing the same task. And if I'm just out of school, I wanted to obviously learn as much as possible. So that wasn't really going to work. So, but yeah, basically, I think at the time I tried to convince myself, like, no, I just need to go back to Georgia because it's like better for me. But I knew, like I'm trying to go back to get back together with him to see if I can save this relationship, like the last straw. And once I moved back, I got the clarity I needed, that this relationship was like not gonna go anywhere, and he really like he has really decided that he was not going to actually pursue getting back together. And I only saw him like twice in person when I had moved back to Georgia, and never again after that. And I do believe that once the universe, like, it's like once you're done with that person, you will not cross paths with them again. If they're really not meant to be in your life, you will not cross paths with them again. And part of my issue, which had me hooked to this relationship, was I became very close to his family, and they were there and they were still talking to me. And then like his brother's daughter, I became close to. So I was like going to her birthday party and like things like that, like hanging out with the mom who I'm friends with, and then her sister, and obviously the daughter. So like we were all hang out, and at first I was like, this is the comfort I need. Like I still have them. But then I realized like they were a comfort, but it was also toxic because it was keeping me trapped in that relationship, or the thought of that relationship. And so, because it's his family, you know what I mean? And even if they loved me, or none of them, it was like not good for me to heal. And I feel like I had epiphanies throughout the breakup, where one of the epiphanies I had was like, I honestly, like, I didn't hate him too. Like, let me make that clear. I did not hate him, even if he did things that were super immature and like inconsiderate after the breakup. But in a relationship, honestly, like, he treated me really well. And we didn't have like, I guess like our biggest downfall was like when we had a conflict, he was definitely more of like a victim, and like it just like the world was falling. He was just very emotional, and I'm not like that. And I was always trying to like pick up the pieces and like make it better, even though I knew that it wasn't my fault, let's say, in certain cases. But I just feel like with this relationship, I had the epiphany that since he was my best friend, since I loved him so much, sometimes you have to let the people go that, even if you love them, you know, if you really love someone, let them go, I guess is the saying. And I had like this feeling in my chest of like, I just want him to be happy. So I would, even if it's not with me, I feel like I just want him to be happy because I care about him so much, and I need to love him in a different way. And so that was the first step. I feel like that really started my healing of accepting that truth. And I mean, there's always times I kind of like flip-flopped, you know, went back and forth, but that was basically the first real like step into my healing, is accepting that truth. So there was that. And then I feel like this is what started my spiritual journey too, because I don't know, this was like 2023, guys. So I don't know if y'all were on TikTok when readings, like tarot readings, were so like prominent, and then like they would come up on my For You page and be like, he's thinking about you, or and it just has you hooked. And it would just give me like hope, like, oh my God, like, but this is what's happening, and this is what's happening. And then my mom was like, why don't you get a reading done? This was my first reading. Why don't you get a reading done by this lady that I had a reading done years ago by? And so I had the reading done, and it was very eye-opening. And she kind of got me into like candle magic a little bit with communication. And that's kind of where that spiritual side of me started. And then when I saw the tarot readings, and then I would be disappointed sometimes when things didn't quite work out the way it said it was going to happen, and this and that. I got my own tarot cards, and then I started doing my own tarot cards. And I had to quickly realize, well, not quickly, because I feel like it took me a little bit, but I would pull cards, and then sometimes it's literally leaning towards like what I'm like hoping is going to happen. And then the energy like literally like changed so fast. And I was like, oh my God, like the cards are lying to me. And like this and that. And I realized that it's not that the cards are lying to you. It's the energy changes. It's about energy. It's not 100% like predicting everything. It's more the current energy. So the energy changes, the outcome changes. And yeah, so that was the start of my spiritual journey. I started doing tarot more. I started like watching meditation videos. And I did watch a healing meditation video, I guess, that kind of, it's like healing your inner child. And they kind of had you close your eyes and like picture you looking at little you saying like, it's okay, I got you. Like, I'm going to protect us. We're going to be all right. You don't like, let me lead, basically. And that healed something in me too, where I'm like, I don't need anyone but myself. And this was a time that when you go through a breakup, sometimes not everyone is able to support you the way you need to be supported. And I felt like that was the case with me and my family. And so I felt like very alone too. And so I had like basically was like, all I need is myself. At the end of the day, all I need is myself to heal, to protect myself. As long as I'm good, that's all that matters. And so that's when I started pouring myself back into like the self-love and like going back to doing art, coloring, dancing, singing, like all the things I would do, taking pictures. And I would say, when they say like when a girl glows up after a breakup, you know he did her dirty, because I was looking good. I was taking photos like every weekend. I mean, part of me was like, oh, I want him to like see I'm looking good. But the other part of me was doing it for my own self-confidence, because I used to take pictures of myself all the time before I got in a relationship with him. So it was like bringing me back to that part of myself that loved to do that. And I feel like I noticed that since all I need is myself, it was like the catalyst, you know, of like getting back to who you are and who you want to be, who you want to grow into. Not even going back to your old self. It's like the new healed version of yourself that has more awareness after this breakup, with all the lessons you learned from this breakup and how you're going to go about life, like moving forward, and relationships moving forward. So I feel like if I had to give like tips of things you can do to make the breakup easier and help you get yourself out of your head and out of the depression and the grieving, because it was really bad. Like, it had gotten so bad, my mental health, like to a scary point, if you know what I mean. So I honestly like never want to experience that pain again. And they always say your first heartbreak is the worst. And that's true. I don't think I could ever love somebody in the same way again because of that. But at least I'm learning to love and like go about relationships in a way more healthy way. Kind of how I talked about in my last episode about like matching energy and like protecting your energy and not giving so much to someone that doesn't give back. And I would say, so one is like journaling. Write your feelings down, especially when you feel like you don't have other people to talk to about how you're feeling or they just don't understand. Write in a journal, because at least for me, it felt like I was releasing those emotions that were like pent up inside of me that I like needed to talk about and needed to kind of like have clarity on. And writing it down gave me some clarity of seeing it from like the bigger picture in some ways. So I would say journaling, and then guided meditations on YouTube, or not even meditations, but maybe just like people talking you, like kind of like a therapist, but maybe talking about like going through a breakup, validating your feelings, you know, helping you get in a better mindset. So I would say those. Working out or doing a physical activity that you like to do definitely helps mentally for me. And obviously you want to be healthier, so physically. If you're a person that likes to take pictures or likes, like, find ways to build your confidence back. Go back to the things that you would do when you were single. Find the little joys in things that you used to find the little joys in. Because you're basically building yourself up again, but in a new, healthier way. So I would say do those things, and then like do self-care. Some nights, do your nails, do a little spa night. If you had friends, like go out with friends maybe here and there. But at the end of the day, I feel like no one can really pull you out of your this breakup. Only you can do it. And especially when you're ready to do it. But it's also like recognizing the toxic cycles that are preventing you from getting over the breakup as well. And eventually I had to stop feeding into like the contact with him. You have to go no contact. Like I don't care what anyone says, to be honest. I feel like if you just get out of a breakup and then you continue to talk to this person, you're never getting over them, or it's going to be really, really, really hard to get over them. You need that no contact for a good amount of time, I would say. And men, when they break up with you, they don't feel the breakup right away. They're feeling happy and they're feeling relieved and they're feeling like maybe a little guilty, but they don't feel it till like a couple months after you. You feel it right away. So it's like you're healing in reverse in some weird way, like opposites. And like, I don't know. It's just, you gotta do no contact or it's gonna be very hard for you mentally to come back into yourself and pour into yourself. And the person you need to prioritize and love the most first is yourself. That's what I learned. And so now I feel like I'm so much healthier in the way I love. And I'm still learning. And then like you're kind of left with that wound of trust of like, oh my God, but I don't want to lose myself again, or I don't want to love somebody and then experience that pain again. But there are ways to like accept love and bring welcome new love in, but then protect your peace and yourself at the same time. And I mean, we're all on a journey, we're all given lessons from people. I definitely believe relationships are fated and they're meant to teach you things and show you the things that you need to heal. And sometimes you grow with that person and you go throughout life with them, you marry them, whatever. And sometimes you don't. Sometimes they're just a chapter. And I had to accept that he was just a chapter. And he taught me a lot. And it was great to have that knowledge and experience and love when it happened. But then I had to realize I deserve better. I was on a different level than him. I needed someone definitely more intelligently, more on my level when it comes to intelligence, emotional maturity, goals. Just wanting to make money isn't enough. I need someone with real ambitions, has a real plan, and it's kind of doing that the same level as me, basically. And I realized that wasn't him. And that's okay. That just means our relationship no longer aligned for me, and it had to come to an end, even if it hurt and wasn't on my accord. But I just told a friend recently, you have Mr. Right can't come in if Mr. Wrong is in the way. And I feel like during my breakup, I met somebody. If you have read my blog, you'll know who I'm talking about, which is linked in the bio. But I was not interested in men in the sense of I'll never love again, but I'll hang out with them. I'll have some fun, casual, hookups, things like that. Met him, wasn't taking him serious at first because I was very much still in the headspace of my ex. And so it wasn't until, I don't know, a good amount of time later, as I continued to spend time with him, that I realized that it's definitely faded because he's still in the present. So I don't want to say it's he's not here, but it was definitely faded. And it's definitely someone who's way more aligned with me, career wise, goal wise, interest wise, intelligence wise, emotional maturity wise. Yeah, there's still obviously like, based on the age, like men don't mature right away, and there's no one's gonna be perfect, first of all. But I realized, I'm like, thank God the relationship ended with my ex, because this man's already way better than him. And I already am learning to be healthier with going about this like relationship with him. So matching energy, but also being honest about how I feel, not being scared to express where I'm at. And I was very clear when I first met him, like, I just went through a breakup. Like, I'm not interested in anything serious. And it's very important for anyone to make it clear to the person they're involving themselves with where they're at. And he respected it. And I noticed that he was the only person I was able to feel grounded around without him having to say anything. And this will be another episode, probably. But to wrap it up, this is just a reminder that breakups are hard, but you can find yourself again. Not all hope is lost. And just know that prioritizing you, loving yourself, should always come first. And, you know, don't lose the hobbies and things that you like to do in a relationship. You know, get that back, get that spark back, get your goals back. You know, like, life is too short, and we are meant to grow and prosper and go after our dreams, even if they're scary. And breakups, yes, are hard, hurtful, like damaging, but they teach us how to be stronger and go about life in a different way. And if that chapter is meant to end, let it end, because the universe will bring you something even better. So, girlies, I'm here for you. Put in the comments like your thoughts or any advice you may have for others and me, you know. And any other topics you want to talk about for the next episode. Anything, you know, just share your thoughts. This is a nice, loving, open community I'm trying to build with you guys. So thank you for watching, and stay tuned for the next episode.